We could get out the big ladder. I'll have Jonathan order a new one. Okay, I think we're ready.
Digital with the remote.
Yeah, like the,
Okay, I hereby call this meeting to order and would like to thank those that are here tonight and those that are joining us by live stream, and we thank you for being here. Oh, I didn't have, who's doing the pledge?
oh,
Okay,
okay, thanks.
Renee will lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, is Angie with us on the phone? Okay, all of our board members are in attendance, and Miss Oliver will join us by phone. There are a few addendum materials on the following topics: recognitions, K-5 ELA materials adoption proposal, and Head Start 2023-2024 continuation grant application. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the addendum.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion passed. Next on the agenda is to approve the minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes, the following minutes as presented: executive session, student hearing, discipline, February 1st, regular board meeting, February 14th, executive session, student discipline, February 15th. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passed also. Next on the agenda is approve the consent agenda, which includes authorization of payment of claims, approving the supplemental financial information, and approving the human resource activities as presented. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, on this evening's consent agenda, to recognize Janelle Harris, formerly the interim director of special education, and tonight I'm presenting her to take that position permanently.
Okay, perfect. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passed. Next on the agenda are the self-explanatory reports, which include Idaho General Food Revenue Report, the Food Service Free and Reduced Meal Eligibility Report, Media Report, and Community Relations Update, Student Enrollment Report, and Student Suspension Report. And next on the agenda is recognitions, which will be presented by Janelle Harris.
Thank you. Ms. Fisher couldn't be here tonight, so I get the honor, and I'm excited to do it tonight. So tonight we will recognize several individuals who, through their actions, support and embody our district's mission to think, learn, good heavens, think more, learn more, and be more together. Our district believes a safe, supportive, caring, and respectful environment is critical to student learning. The School District 25 Education Foundation, in partnership with McDonald's, supports the Learner of the Month award to recognize one elementary learner and one secondary learner from our district from October through May. The CAKE Award celebrates positive character, attitude, kindness, and encouragement toward others. In addition to being recognized here at the monthly board meetings, the recipients also receive a baking kit to make cupcakes at home with their families, and special treats delivered to their classroom to be enjoyed with and among their peers. Nominations for the CAKE Award are submitted by a teacher who has observed the nominee's behavior and are approved by the school's principal. Our March CAKE Award elementary learner was Emma Fisher. She can come up and join me. And her teacher is Mrs. Paige Orfield. Come on. Oh, sir, it's who? Sir. Okay, well, that's not what's here. Both of you come on up. Thank you for joining. Yes, thank you for joining Emma. In her nomination letter, Mrs. Warfield wrote, Emma is an incredibly compassionate peer towards her classmates at Chubbuck. She voluntarily gives up her recess time each Tuesday to help other fifth grade students catch up on work in our lunch academy. While it's sunny and nice outside, she chooses to spend her time in the computer lab with me, making sure other learners stay on track. She has an amazing ability to empower her classmates as she tutors them. She patiently works together with learners to help them help themselves. Emma is able to support her classmates in a way that encourages them to celebrate their strengths rather than feeling lesser for being behind. Emma is a great asset to the Chubbuck community. In addition to being recognized here tonight, Emma will receive the cupcake kit, which that one's not yours. Yours is back there. And Emma and her teacher will receive a gift card from McDonald's, and the school library will receive a $50 donation to purchase books in your name, Emma. So congratulations to Emma. We're grateful to have you, and I think you're a future teacher with all those compliments.
Oh, just come down through the front. Thanks for helping.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you.
All right, please help me welcome Shane Ramstead to the podium, along with his teacher, Mrs. Alicia King. Yay? No. Darn it. I just got an email that he was going to come. So if you see somebody show up that looks like he's lost, I have his award. So I'll move on to the next one, which is the March Employee of the Month, the PIES Award. The Employee of the Month PIES Award recognizes our employees who positively influence educational success. The award is for employees who go above and beyond in that effort. Lookout Credit Union partners with us in providing this award. Tonight, we are recognizing Ms. Brenda Miner. She is February's PIES Award recipient. Ms. Miner is the Director of Human Resources, and she was nominated by me. How'd that work out? In my nomination, I wrote, Brenda always provides an amazing amount of support to all staff members she works with. She never hesitates to help. The level of support she provides to the entire district can be overwhelming and intense, but she does it with a smile. She is kind, gracious, patient, and understanding of the various needs that exist throughout our school district. I am personally grateful for all the support she has given me as a new director, now really new. She knows exactly where we are with hiring. Staff members are always welcomed into her office and greeted with a huge smile. Brenda provides fun and energy to the district office, which permeates the schools. When I was a principal, I always knew Brenda could find ways to solve conflict through thoughtful processes and restorative practices. She sets the bar high on professionalism. We are all grateful and appreciative of the work that she does, and the weekends that she spends here in the office, and the self-sacrifices she makes every day. Several other members of the administration team wanted to weigh in. Mrs. Sue Pettit wrote, Brenda's joyful disposition brightens the office every day. She deals with some very difficult situations with grace and kindness. There's never a doubt that she seeks the best outcome for each situation she encounters. Mr. Jonathan Balls wrote, a great team player, Brenda is always willing to help, give advice, and pitch in. Ms. Tanya Wilkes wrote, Brenda is that person we can all depend on to bring us together, to push us to be better, and to always make time for you. She makes you feel like your kid or kids are the best child on the planet. And she truly loves hearing about all of their accomplishments. Brenda is that person that makes you feel heard, seen, and valued every day. She is the more together. Mr. A.J. Watson wrote, Brenda exemplifies what it means to be a team player. She is always willing to help out, provide insight, listen, and do whatever is necessary to effectively get the job done. She truly wants what is best for people and cares about them as individuals. Brenda is an instrumental part of the district administrative team that we all appreciate, trust, and respect. And Miss Courtney Fisher wrote, like most of us, I often turn to Brenda to help problem solve, brainstorm, dream, or just listen and offer a different perspective. These sessions are never just talk. I always leave our discussions with a better, more thoughtful action plan. Brenda is honest, kind, fair, and generous in her approach. I can always count on her to add a touch of levity and humor, even when we are doing hard things. She is one of the magic ingredients that binds our team together and makes us stronger. Ms. Minor is receiving a $50 gift card, and I get a $20 one. That's not bad. Thank you, Brenda, for all of your. You're welcome. Okay. Did we have Shane Ramstead show up yet? No? Okay. On to the next one. As soon as we're done. All right. Please help me welcome Mr. Nick Muckerman to the podium for recognition of Idaho Elementary School, which was identified earlier this month by the state as the top school in Idaho. Using the Idaho State Accountability System, the Department of Education for the state of Idaho recently recognized Idaho Elementary School as the top school in the state of Idaho based on performance criteria. Idaho ranked number 1 with a composite value of 99 out of 100 for the 21-22 school year based on ELA and Math ISAT performance and growth, as well as a small measure of student engagement. The school currently enrolls 308 learners in grades K through 5. The designation as the top school is a testament to Idaho's implementation of the school district's professional development, collaboration through building leadership teams, unit development, and instructional camps, building strong school communities through restorative practices, and commitment to visible learning, which are all central to Pocatello Chubbuck School District 25's mission and vision. According to Principal Nick Muckerman, Idaho has truly embraced the mission of achieving more together. I am proud of each and every Idaho elementary learner and staff member. This success was built upon a dedication to teamwork and relationships, as well as a commitment to excellence in learning. With nearly 33% of Idaho's learners qualifying for free and reduced meals, Idaho's percentage falls significantly higher than the other top performers in the state. This achievement speaks to the school and the district's commitment to providing the highest quality educational services in a safe, supportive, and caring learning environment for all learners. Superintendent Howell said, "We are very proud of Idaho, as well as our many accomplishments district-wide that run the gamut from our commitment to STEM education and ISAT scores above state and national averages in grades 3 through 8 and 10, to numerous state academic champions and dual enrollment college credits earned that equal more than $16.5 million in tuition value since 2015. With gratitude to the hundreds of staff members who contribute daily to our success, the future of public education is bright in PCSD 25. We have and will continue to focus on the best practices that have the greatest impact on the growth of our learners. Thank you for your contribution to our learners and to our school district. Please join me in congratulating Idaho.
Congratulations.
Okay, no Shane yet? Okay, well, that concludes my part tonight.
Okay, thank you, Janelle. Okay, next on the agenda is public or written comment on topics not pertinent to the agenda action items. We have one by Daniel Harrington. Daniel, we have 3 minutes, and we would ask that you keep your comments civil and respectful.
Good evening, Board. I'm a student at Pocatello High School, and I have some serious questions that I feel like I deserve answers to. My first question is, why are you allowing school counselors to take advantage of emotionally vulnerable students and imposing them to radical gender ideology? Why are you allowing these counselors to just let these kids change their names and not even tell parents about it? And I've seen on many occasions where there are parents that go to these like school plays and find out that their child's name is not the same as it used to be. And they want to call those nicknames. I think that if you're going to change a boy's name to a girl, that is not a nickname. My second question is there an explanation for why a school counselor would hide this type of information from a student's parents? Do you think that this is okay? Why would you guys allow this in the schools? Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. Okay, next on the agenda, we have student representative reports. We'll start with Century High School. Melissa Allen, or Marissa Allen? Or Samantha? You're Marissa.
I'm not Marissa.
You're not Marissa.
I'm
You-
her replacement.
Okay,
My name is Addie Marshall, and I'm the new ASB co-president for this next year. So I took over for Marissa and Sam. So
thank you.
just to kind of give you an idea of what we've been doing lately, we just wrapped up a successful trimester 2. Our freshmen did a really good job doing candygrams and raised a bunch of money for that. This try, we started a 3-on-3 tournament at our school, so we have a lot of kids playing, and that money's all going to the animal shelter. So we've had a lot of involvement with that. If the weather decides to work in our favor, hopefully we'll get spring sports started up. So far, we've had a lot of stuff canceled, but we're optimistic. We also started a shamrock shake is kind of what they called it. So we have like leprechauns around the school, and we have kids, if you find a leprechaun, you can take it to the office. So just to kind of get students involved. We just finished our play last night, and they did an amazing job. We're preparing for SATs and ISATs, just getting ready for that to wrap up the school year. We have a spring dance coming up on the 1st, so hopefully we get some good student involvement with that. And we are starting a vape awareness thing in our TAs. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, appreciate that. Okay, next we will have Highland report. Lexi?
Maddie Anderson.
Okay.
I don't think
Okay.
Lexi's doing this anymore. I think it's just
Okay.
me. So,
Well, I do have your name on here, Maddie Anderson.
yeah.
You-
Good evening. Highland's doing awesome heading into this third trimester. We just wrapped up all of our winter extracurriculars. Our boys basketball, cheer, wrestling, and debate all went to state, and cheer and wrestling were both 5A academic state champions. Cheer won state in all of their categories and went on to compete nationals in California, and they won both of their categories there too. Wrestling had 6 individuals place and 1 state champion. Speech and debate took 2nd at state and had a state champion in an individual event. Our BPA club competed at state and had 3 individuals qualify for nationals. Recently, Highland teamed up with Make-A-Wish, and we raised over $10,000 for our Make-A-Wish kid Aaliyah, which was pretty awesome. Our Key Cub also recently organized a blood drive with the Red Cross, and we had a lot of student involvement with that. We recently had over 40 students graduate early, and we're really proud, and we'd like to congratulate them for meeting all of those requirements early. We also have our last show of Into the Woods from our drama department night. It's a fantastic show, and they're really doing an awesome job with it. But that's all that's going on with Highland.
Okay, thank you, Maddie. Appreciate that. Okay, next we'll have Pokey. We have, just tell us who you are.
My name is Marin Brock.
Okay, we're in.
Okay, let's see. So we are very proud of our debate team who brought home the state championship. They won first in the state. Our boys basketball team took 2nd at states, which it was a really close game, kind of hard. But and then our girls basketball team won the consolation trophy at state, so they did really well as well. And our student government won outstanding state student government and the etiquette award at state. Student government hosted the Region 5-6 Student Council Conference last Thursday. 13 schools attended and exchanged some great ideas for upcoming events. Ms. Mon, who currently serves the Region 5-6 Director of Student Councils, will take over as the State Director of Student Councils on July 1st, and that she is Pokey's Student Council Director. In conjunction with Century Stugo and the Mayor and Chief Shai, Stugo is presenting to the middle schools about the dangers of fentanyl this week. I know that we have worked really hard with creating campaigns and working against the fentanyl epidemic right now with the mayor and Chief Shai. Berto Reed was accepted to the program Fish for Change and will be representing Pocatello High School in Honduras this summer. So yeah, it's basically all with Pokey.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, if I may, again, just to comment on, I visited with Mayor Bland about a week ago, and he was very complimentary of our student government students and their participation and their willingness to get the message out, their creativity. So I think it's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Thank you, we do appreciate what you do. Okay, I guess that we don't have anybody from New Horizon, so this time we'll move on to public hearing on proposed 2022-2023 budget adjustments. We will start with a presentation of proposed adjustments provided by Jonathan Balls. And Carl Smart.
Mr. Carl Smart is very influential in these budgets, and so that's why he's up here with me as well. You want to start?
Oh, sure. All right, tonight we are bringing you our adjusted budget, or the budget adjustments we would like to do to our overall district budget. And we do this every year. And the reason for that is we create a budget for you, and you approve this budget in the month of June before we know a lot of information on what is happening in our system and where we're going to be funded from the state and where our staff will lie on different salary schedules. So with that being said, we come to you in the month of March after we receive our first funding statement from the state, and we have information on where all of our staff are being placed on the salary schedules. And so we adjust at least our general fund for the salaries that are being paid, and adjusted as well for the revenues we see from the state and our beginning balance that we saw at the end of last year. In addition to that, we do some other adjustments to the other funds based upon just the coming and going of programs within our district. And so you'll see in your packet an entire overview of what those adjustments will do. This is important for next year because this becomes our starting point as we look at next year's budget. Where do those changes come from? And so we've done our due diligence. We've done our posting in the paper as required by law. That happened, I think, on the 4th of March. So that has happened. And so that our legal obligations have been taken care of. And so tonight we are going to have a hearing to make those adjustments, I guess, permanent. And so with that being said, I'll turn the time over to Jonathan, but I'll just let you know that the adjustments for the budget do reflect actual salaries and benefits that we do have. So.
Thank you, and I will add, obviously, both of these numbers appear in our audit report as we get audited every year. The adopted budget, the adjusted budget appears in our audit report as well. So again, I'll just briefly review these documents. Again, we covered them last week for you as well. Again, the first document was what appeared in the Idaho State Journal on March 4th. The second one lists our 32 different funds, the original budget, any adjustment up or down, and then the amended budget that we are proposing. The next that has the beige headings, again, detail the individual adjustments. You'll notice that a lot of them, or excuse me, most of them are adjustment to actual. As Mr. Smart said, again, you approved this budget in June, but we did not close our fiscal end of year until the end of June, June 30. And so these are a lot of the adjustments that we have made is to put them to the actual amounts. Okay, and then briefly, as the general fund, the 100 fund is our largest one. We wanted to kind of give the variances there for salaries, benefits, purchase services, and so forth, as you can see those detailed there. And so that is kind of that is the budget adjustments that we are proposing for you to take action on later on in this meeting.
Okay. All righty, we will now recess the regular board meeting and convene a public hearing on the proposed 2022-2023 budget adjustments. Is there anyone that would like to make a comment? I see no one. Okay, so then we will now close the public hearing and reconvene the regular meeting. I would entertain a motion on the proposed 2022-2023 budget adjustment. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board adopt the 2022-2023 budget adjustments as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. So that motion passed. Okay, we'll now move on to curriculum and instruction. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Safety, school safety and athletics. We will start with Amy Bowie, who will report on the K-5 ELA material adoption proposal.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, trustees, Dr. Howell, and Ms. Johnson. Kathy Luris has joined me this evening also, and I want to, just take 2 seconds to thank her for her time, commitment, and expertise in this process. It's been invaluable. In your packet is a memorandum detailing the K-5 ELA materials adoption proposal, and this information was presented by the adoption committee last week on March 7th, and the board will be asked to consider adopting the ELA material under action items. So in the memorandum, you can see sort of a recap of what we talked about, Carrie Thompson talked about last week, that the adoption committee was able to reach consensus and recommended into reading 2020 by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. This information was presented last week at this special meeting work session. Although final negotiations have not concluded with the publisher, the cost of the adoption is anticipated to be between $1,173,000 and $1,478,000. This exceeds the original elementary textbook allocation of $928,000. However, the remaining balance can be covered by utilizing a combination of unspent textbook funds, literacy funds, and/or general funds. So our recommendation tonight is that we recommend as the administration that the Board of Trustees adopt the K-5 ELA materials as presented by the K-5 ELA Materials Adoption Committee and authorize spending up to $1,478,000 pending final negotiations.
So we need a motion?
No,
No, we're not.
Any
Just
thoughts?
at the end.
Oh, okay.
yeah, we will get on with that later. So do anybody have any questions for
I
Amy?
think did we add literacy funds? Oh, excuse me.
Oh, the
okay.
addendum?
So the amount was adjusted.
Yeah, it was actually
Okay.
928,000.
Right.
That, and in the first one, there was a typo, it said 900,000. We just had to redo that one. The original amount
Oh, I see.
budgeted was 9, that's the only difference, yeah.
Okay, I was like, I
Yeah,
couldn't see the difference. Thank you.
you bet.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, where are we here? Next, A.J. Watson will report on the following: Head Start for 2023-2024, continuing grant application and program update, and kindergarten registration update.
Good evening, Board. I'll start with the update for Head Start. As far as enrollment and classrooms, things have remained stable, still have 135 learners enrolled and 7 of the 10 classrooms in session, and there were no additional hires that have been made since the report last month. A few items to update you on: the Head Start FA2 monitoring review. The federal review took place last week. A couple of you participated in that review, so thank you very much for your participation. And they send the results, so they expect the results to be in about 45 days, and we'll report back on those results as well. In regards to the COLA and quality improvement funding letter, you were given a little information about that at the work session. There was a total increase of $191,114, and the primary focus is to increase compensation and enhance personnel, education, and professional development. So that will be included in the grant application that you will be considering for approval action today. No. No, so that's in addition to, so they've added that, so that will just be additional funds that they've added to federal, correct, not from us. And so they will just include that in their application. As for action items tonight, you'll be asked to approve the submission of the 2023-2024 Head Start application grant. You received most of that information at the work session last week, and also to approve the transportation and non-federal share waivers that they will be submitting as well. And then kindergarten registration, it is that time of year. Kindergarten kickoff is starting up. Online registration will begin on March 17th. It's a two-step process. They go and register online, and we get them entered in our student information system, and then they begin registering at the schools on March 30th. That's just the first day that they can go in and register, and then we'll continue to register them throughout the spring as they're available and able to come in. On that day when they come into the school, they finalize some paperwork that's school-specific, and the learner completes a kindergarten screener as well. So they bring the learner in and get them excited. They're always excited. It's always fun to see those soon-to-be kindergartners. They're very excited about the opportunity to come in and start school, although they may be a little shy at first. They're very eager to begin, and we give them a packet of things to take, a little bag, and things that they can work on over the summer, and it's a fun day for them to be introduced to the school. Any questions that you have for me about registration or Head Start? Okay, that completes my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, Sue Pettit will report on the following. Policy 8705, student activity and participation fees and student fines, first reading, early graduation request, and the 2023-2024 New Horizon High School calendar.
Okay, so that policy review, or the policy that we're asking, we're adding just a sentence, and it's on the second page, and it has to do with keeping their diploma until such time as their fines are paid. And that is from state code, but it wasn't in our policy, and so we were just adding that sentence to our policy. We can't keep transcripts, but we can hold a diploma until their fines are paid. So that's what first reading for that is. Yes.
So the first thing that's jumping out at me is it says Holt Arena graduation.
We're changing that for you next week, or next month. There's a few of them that we have to, yep, this is gonna have to get fixed. So it just was too late to do it with this reading, so we may give you a second reading with some more changes, and then you can.
Awesome. Thank
Okay. Early graduation requests, you can see we have 8 of those, and those are students that actually finished their work at the end of second try, but didn't get their paperwork in time for last month's board meeting, and so they've completed everything, and letting you know that they're done. Overnight trips. Oh, sorry, New Horizons calendar, you have that. Their calendar is a little bit different than everybody else's because they run their program on 6-week blocks instead of trimesters, and so they have a little bit different calendar, and that has to be approved by you, so you have a copy of that. And then last but not least, we have some out-of-state overnight trips, and you'll notice that one of them is for Monday next week, and we've talked with that teacher. He's brand new, and we've talked with them about giving that a little more time than for a spring break trip, that he needs to have those in much earlier than this week. So, new teacher though. So if you'll approve those, that would be helpful. And that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is business operations, which will be presented by Jonathan Balls. He'll report on bid awards.
I just have
Oh.
the helmet.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
the helmet.
Yeah.
I'm really
Oh, I'm sorry.
short-winded tonight,
I
so.
did skip right over that, I'm sorry.
According to IHSAA rule and guideline 17-26, we have to present in front of the board the 1 week that we're allowed in the summer. We have to give you the dates for football camp to use our equipment and and helmets. So if we could have that approved for Century, Highland, and Pokey for those dates that are listed. That was easy.
Sorry, Tanya. Okay, next is Jonathan Balls of Business Operations for some bid awards.
Okay, good evening, board members. We have a few bids before you to, for your consideration to approve. It's the season, and we'll still have probably 2 more months of the bids as we open those. The first one that's before you is our carpet bid. We have 6 different projects, 6 different schools around the district that are in need of a little bit of carpet. And so we had 4 vendors that were invited to bid, received bids from 2. And you can see those, the bids that were received. Again, it's board action that we request the motion to award these 6 projects to wall-to-wall carpet for the amount of $128,500. And that is approximately $5,400 over what we estimated there. The next one is our freezers back in our central kitchen area. Again, we actually had 15 vendors invited to bid. We received 2 back, and you'll see those bids there. Again, it's our motion to award this, the freezer cooler bid to BSR Design and Supplies for $349,454.38. And that's roughly $60,500 under what we had estimated in our SIP budget there.
Can I ask a question about that?
Of course.
I mean, obviously, the big differences, I mean, they're exactly flip-flopped. I mean, is the equipment comparable? I mean, that's a pretty significant difference on the
Sure.
equipment
So-
itself, and then you look at the labor.
Good, yep,
Just-
good thoughts. They are 2 different brands, if you will. Resco bid a Arctic brand, and BSR, they did an Imperial Brown freezer. But both of those are very comparable. And so to answer your question, yes, we feel very confident with that. The warranties are there in place, and that's just how they, they put down their sheet there.
Thank you.
So, you bet, no problem. Okay, the next bid is for some roofing at Ellis Elementary. This is a metal roof. We invited 10 vendors to bid, and we got 2 vendors that came and presented a bid. And you'll see the lowest bid there for Robinson Roofing out of Blackfoot. And so our motion is to approve Robinson Roofing in the amount of $704,310 for the Ellis roof. You'll see that one was over by a goodly sum of $204,000. So that was both due to materials and for labor. So, and lastly, for our vinyl composite tile throughout the district, 3 different projects there is listed there. Again, 4 vendors that were invited to bid, 2 received back. And it's our motion that we have, the motion for the board is to award this bid to Carpets Plus Color Tile for the amount of $59,045.23. And this is approximately $29,700 under what we had estimated. So, and just in case you're keeping your running totals, Superintendent Howell had asked me to kind of see where we were at. And so I'm happy to say, to date, we're actually under budget for SIP in the amount of $119,900, so about $120,000. There are some bids coming up that I'm anxious to see where they come in, but for now, we're standing good.
Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, next on the agenda is the employee services, which will be presented by Carl Smart. He will report on the following: Infinite Campus, IC, Technology Department update, and emergency school closures.
All right, just a couple of mentions about our item A there. We've talked several times over the last several months about updating our security camera systems, and we are in the midst of getting those plans back and those costs back. And so hopefully within the next month or so, we can have some intelligent conversations with you as a board on where we go with that plan. And so I know Kevin's been working on that one, and he started getting plans back today and sharing them with us. As far as Infinite Campus, of course, they're always getting ready for the new year. This time of year, we always are getting information in so we can have our Infinite Campus system up and running for the kids next fall when they show up. I know they are. I'm pretty sure I'd have to get a nod from Sue over here that they're doing their registration as we speak, probably. So that is, for as far as I know, no news is good news. It's gone fairly well and smoothly. So, and as far as IC, we are in the midst of our March submission, and as of today, we had it down to like 135 errors. So we have 3 days to clear up those several dozens of errors, and we will be ready to go for the month of March. Item B, if we'd have known a month ago what we know today, we would have had you to include this February 15th date in our resolution, what we did a month ago. Of course, after we did our 3 days of emergency closure leave last month, we ended up the next day after our board meeting having another one. So just as we did last month, we need to inform the state. The form is included in your packet. The resolution is in here as well that we need to approve, and we will send this all to the state once you have taken care of the yeses on this. And then our duty will be done. Hopefully this will be the last time we have to do this year. So with the weather out there today, it looks promising, right? So
We ever close for flooding?
Not, well, one school. Yeah.
So that concludes my report tonight.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Appreciate that. Okay, next on the agenda is Human Resources will be presented by Brenda Miner. She'll report on the job fair and the staffing update, the policy 7202, teacher supervision and evaluation of certificated and professional staffing, second reading for adoption. Sorry.
Right, great, thank you. Good evening again. It's nice to see you and get to tell you about sometimes the weather, as Carl was just talking about, seems hard to believe we're thinking of next school year, but with that being said, we've started hiring. We have 9 elementary positions available or that are open now, and we did fill 2 of those this week. Mr. Watson did interviews. We had interviewed 9 candidates, and we had all of the elementary teachers in separate pods, and they went to different people and had
Administrators.
Oh, excuse me, administrators. What did I say?
Teachers.
Oh, sorry. They already got to pick their job. Sorry. All the teachers. So all the administrators came in, and then they did interviews with 9 elementary candidates, and 2 of those jobs had been closed, so they were able to hire. So we already have 2 very excited new people who've already called HR, and they're ready to get started. 3 middle school positions, 2 math and 1 English, 3 high school positions in English, and then 2 of which are a combination of a math, science, and a social studies Spanish position. And then we also have 2 high school counselors. And then in addition to those positions, we do have some that just have not finished interviews with 12 of our Category 1 teachers. And if you remember, a Category 1 teacher is someone who was hired after August 1st. And so anyone who's hired after August 1st goes back in the pool, and then they have those interviews as well. And so those candidates are out there and back in the pool, and they're doing those interviews. I've heard from one principal tonight who had taken care of 3 of those already this evening, so that process. As far as a job fair, we are, for our classified employees and certified employees, I'll be going to a job fair at March 28th out at the Shoshone-Bannock. And they have quite a turnout from what I understand, and he was very generous and offered to waive our vendor fee of $200 for the table, which I thought was very nice, and we will go out there and start getting people to see all the reasons to come to School District 25, the benefit package and all of those things, so hopefully we can have a lot of people hired and ready to go for the fall, and then some of our positions that are still open currently. Any questions?
I don't see any. Thank you.
Okay, and then my next part is policy 7202, which is up for second reading, and this is the policy regarding teacher evaluation. This policy mainly was cleanup on the verbiage. There is a part in there, though, that I wanted to make sure that I had some explanation about as far as that parent input piece, because that kind of stands out and it makes you wonder, you know, what does that mean or what does that look like? So just some clarification on that. So when we went to the frontline evaluation tool, in that process, we were also able to cover the IDAPA rule 080202 that talks about that you can either have student input, parent input, or a portfolio as piece of that information. And so it's really a nice opportunity. Our teachers have their individual professional learning plans, and they upload artifacts with that plan on that frontline document. So that being said, the only place that parent survey is taken out of is just out of that evaluation component. It's not taken out of the opportunity for parents to still have an opportunity to give feedback. And for example, there is the surveys that the state gives out, and those go out to each year. All public schools in Idaho must administer these surveys, and they go out to all students that are in grades 3 through 12, and they go to parents, staff members, and students. They do a variety of those surveys. And so there's a whole section on the website at the State Department that gives you an opportunity if you'd like to take a look at those. They have them broken down in elementary, middle school, and high school opportunities. And then also, I spoke with our federal programs person, and all of our Title I schools also have that opportunity for parent surveys and parent input. I'll be real honest with you, when I was a building principal, it seemed like the main opportunity was for you just to come into the building, right? Like if you have a question or a parent concern, to come in and talk to the teacher first and then the administrator, because a lot of times those parent surveys, I don't know if you remember them, but I remember a story. One of our teachers, she had quite a few students, and she said, or quite a few kids of her own, and she would have a stack of those surveys that would come in the mail. And she said that sometimes, you know, it was hard to even get them filled out on her own kids. And so I was talking to Mr. Smart today, and just the percentage of those that came back in was the main reason that we went with the portfolio and gave parents those other opportunities. And so just wanted to clarify that on that 7202, that it definitely was not taking parents out of the equation by any means. It was just showing a different way that they were able to communicate. Any questions?
Yeah, I would like to see in the policy something replacing that, because I realize it's not required
Mhm.
by the state, but it just seems like in order for evaluations to be unbiased and effective, it really has to be anonymous. And so and I think a lot of parents, when I got those surveys in the mail, I'm going to be honest, I didn't fill them out very much. But every time I get them, I think, oh, I just really appreciate that they're asking me, you know, that they, you know, just that communication. And I could tell, you know, honestly what I felt without having to worry about, my name wasn't on it. I could really say, you know, this is a concern I have, you know, and it's completely honest. Now, the state surveys are great, but it's pretty impersonal, and it's not directed toward, you know, like your child's teacher at your child's school. So I'm just wondering, can we put something where there's like a little link or something that's really easy, like, how do you feel your students doing academically? How do you feel they're doing socially? Do you have any comments or concerns about your child's teacher or staff? Like 3 questions or something. Is there some, like, what do you guys think?
Do you want
it
to
just seems like,
go ahead and start answering? I saw you pull the mic. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to take this?
I would just really like to see something local. I know it's not required by the state anymore. I realize that, because you're doing the portfolio instead.
Mhm.
But just with especially with the environment we have right now, you know, parents are obviously wanting more choice.
Right.
And it's being pushed obviously in the legislature. And I thought, you know, what can we do in the district to open that and say, we're letting you, we want you to have opportunities in a way unbiased, you know, without having to put their name, without having to go in and talk to the teacher or principal. Sometimes it really doesn't rise to that level. And sometimes it really isn't something that you really want your name on.
Right, I think sometimes with these, Deanna, that I noticed is they only come at the end of the year, and I think that the survey piece, or just if there's an issue, I mean, even though it does state in the teacher's negotiated agreement that if a parent has a concern that the name goes with it, I'm sure I'm not speaking for just myself, that I know that if a concern was brought to me, that I would still have an opportunity to speak with the teacher, or I would note that, or those kinds of things. And so I'm not sure where else the survey would go. And then the other piece of this is, keep in mind, I was trying to think about this. Right. I mean, it's totally you guys' decision. I'm just saying that this piece of it is just in their evaluation, right?
Even just for the teachers, I would like it. If I, you know, as a teacher, I mean, all I ever got was evaluated, because I didn't ever teach when I wasn't being evaluated. And so, at first, you know, you're like, you know, I don't know. It's hard to have that, but at the same time, it's so helpful. You know, with that growth mindset that, you know, we're always talking about, I just thought it just would be so helpful, I thought. Anyway, just my thoughts.
Yeah, and just one other one. There is, and with the district that I have received things before, where on the district website where they can send in if they have a concern. You know, there is that link.
Anonymous?
So I don't know on that one if they have to put their name on.
I don't.
Right, so they could leave that blank in the name piece of that, and then when.
And it doesn't have an email or anything like that? You can choose not to put it, it's not required. Oh, I see.
And so I do receive some of those sometimes, you know, that they're just those, if there's a concern that's, you know, specific to a school or a teacher, like you say, and then we're able to address those through that kind of it sounds like a weird name for it, but kind of a hotline, right? The parents, if they have something that they want to say.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know about that. But on my kids went to Highland, so that's the only school I really know of as far as like high school. But on their newsletter, every month they have up in the corner, you know, please let us know how we're doing, you know, give us your feedback. And I've never done it, but I just think it's so nice that it's just a link right there.
That shows them.
And I just am like, oh, okay, so I know if I have any concern, I can just click on the link. I've never done it, but I was on the parent advisory committee, which was kind of the same idea, parents getting together and expressing concerns. The only concern I ever have is parking lot.
I think that's a big one, right? I heard that just the other day. But I do know that link on the district website is a nice option for parents, and maybe that would be something I could sure talk to Courtney, and we could make that maybe even a little bit more known or a more noticeable spot if we needed to.
Where does it go?
Okay.
Does it go to Courtney?
It depends. It depends on how it's.
Yep.
Courtney or Shauna usually pick that
And then
up.
they direct them to wherever they need to go, what director needs them, if, you know, based on their school or if it's a staff issue.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
It
So I
is.
think what do you guys think about it being
I-
in the teacher evaluation process?
See, I was thinking, well, why don't we have more of a generic, but it sounds like we already do. So I would feel like we don't need
It's
anything
not
more.
in the policy for teacher evaluation.
Right.
To be able to send that out. So that's what, the only request I had is, could we put it in the policy that we will send out to all the parents just an opportunity to.
I think the opportunity's already there.
I've
If somebody
had
wanted
7
it,
kids there and I've
they
never
would.
seen it.
So the parent survey, I mean, if they wanted to, the one that the state provides or
Oh, I've done
sends
that.
out.
Okay,
Yeah,
I've done that.
I mean,
It's
if you
not-
had a particular concern with a teacher, because that one is anonymous, you could put it in there. And I review those, each director reviews those.
Now,
The
can
principals
we-
receive them for their
can we
schools.
add any questions to that? Because it.
No,
doesn't
that is
talk about
a,
teachers.
that is a template
That's
that's
what I
provided
thought.
by the state.
Right, and I did check on that for you today, that it is a template, but there is the lines at the bottom that give you any feedback. And like Dr. Howell said, that was something that was probably the most telling, is those are the people that really needed a voice, and they would write those comments in there, and then those go back to their administrators for the students' input and the parents' input, and then the directors.
That one's a good one. That one's a good one. I think that's good. The questions didn't really have anything about teachers, because I've done that one a lot for my kids. And, it, you know, talks about accessibility of principal, you know, is there a caring person in the school? I mean, safety, you know, things like that. And I never felt like that really, I don't know, it just wasn't very, they didn't really ask, like, how do you feel, you know, I guess, the teacher. But if everybody feels like that's, you know, sufficient, that's fine with me. I feel like if it's more prominent, I think that would be helpful too.
I can talk to Courtney and just so that we know how it
Yeah,
is
anything to open
projected.
communication, because even with this LA adoption process, there's no concerns because it was open.
Mhm.
And I think if we would have said, no, we're just gonna decide, you know, I think people would be mad, but nobody's mad that I know of.
No, I think it went really smoothly.
Yeah, nobody's mad because, like, come, you know, you wanna come, you come.
Mhm. And I really do feel like that's kind of the vibe when you go to a school too, like, come on in, you know, and feel free to come and talk to us, and as administrators, and, you know, like through back to school nights. And then again, like I say, that I did speak with Mrs. Patterson, and she was saying that that's part of their piece too. So I know that's just in the elementaries, but that is a nice way to get them started to feel comfortable to come into their schools. And they do a survey at the end as well. And she's looking at kind of making that kind of a structured survey that is for all the elementaries right now. They have different options. Mhm.
Instead of just
The state survey.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
They do the Title I survey.
Title I.
But she's thinking about making it consistent across all elementaries that are Title I schools, so that they ask the same questions.
Oh, nice.
Okay?
I like that. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is Superintendent Howell's report, which he will present on the board calendar, legislative update, and the JUUL settlement resolution.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. For the board calendar, we'll just pick it up tomorrow. We'll have student hearings, and it looks like we have one hearing and a few reports for you. So we'll, 2 hearings?
No, one hearing, 2 reports.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought, because we've only asked them for an hour. Okay, all right. So there you have it. And then on the 17th, where you're green, I guess, district curriculum, what did we decide?
Cancel.
Okay.
There's only one agenda item.
I knew we talked about that yesterday, but I wasn't sure where you landed.
Spring break.
Okay, so we'll just scoot past spring break, but definitely something to look forward to. Key communicators on March 28th, so if you're interested, let Courtney know. We'll take the first 2 board members. It's like a phone call, who gets in first with the right answer. I was
It's not just replying to the.
right. I was actually on KCBQ yesterday morning, and Paul Anderson was just talking a little bit about the levy, and he was taking calls just prior to my arrival on the, some trivia question, and even after. Anyway, that guy is amazing. He's like the man behind the curtain.
Tell us that you were on the radio.
Well, it just kind of, Courtney just mentioned last minute that we needed that covered, so I only knew the night before about. Okay, so, let's see, key communicators, and then we'll have student discipline hearings out on March 29th. And then we're going to pick it up, it looks like, right into Spanish textbook adoption committee meeting. And Mr. Vitale is the board representative this year on that committee, so March 29th, it looks like, Mr. Vitale. Then you'll see on the 4th of April, we have our visits, food services, and Indian Hills and Washington, and your various assignments and who will be with you. Then on April 11th, we have the community prevention meeting and board work session for you. And let's see.
Oh, I was gonna say, we just.
Okay, that'd be great, thank you. And if those dates or times conflict for you, just let Renee know and we'll make accommodations. And then discipline hearings again on April 12th, regular board meeting on April 18th, and then we have law conference on Monday and Tuesday, the 24th and 25th. Do we have any board members that have expressed an interest in attending?
I don't
Okay.
know what it is, but
I would kind of like to know about what it is too. but-
Okay, we'll send you the information.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little brochure that goes with it.
That are not in that stuff,
Uh-huh.
in legal stuff.
So they have like roundtable discussions, they have some hot topic issues, they might have a legislative update. Right, so, and different presentations by various attorneys in the firm.
And is it opportunity to ask questions too, or is it really just presenting?
It's more presenting,
Oh, which is fine too, I'm fine.
yeah, okay. All right, I think that takes us out far enough for you to get your calendars together. Next up, just a quick review. You've all likely seen the capital notes that Ms. Johnson put into our board agenda. Maybe just updating you, JFAC did pass the K-12 budget today, and of the $330 million that the legislature set aside and the governor signed that off for 330, they've spent $291 million of that today, in addition to the regular budget. So we'll be excited to hear from our State Department of Education friends as they go out and do a roadshow. I think we are scheduled for April 12th in Region 5, and they will share the details and the implementation and application of all of these laws as they'll come to be, if indeed they are finished by April 12th. But I think they're kind of moving a lot quicker now. As Ms. Clark and I were talking before the meeting, it's like your head's spinning almost by the end of the day, trying to keep up. So property tax relief and removal of March election date for school districts, that has passed through the Revenue and Taxation Committee. And so it will be moving to the floor of the House. There are a lot of big name sponsors on there and a lot of sponsors. So I think, and I had sent a note to our delegation last week. I copied the board on that and just asked them to reconsider the March date and maybe think of the August date instead. But I think that was part of the deal to make this happen. There is a great deal of money that comes with this. And so we definitely want our property tax, our community, our taxpayers to benefit from this, but I just ask that maybe we postpone the March elimination until we see how it goes, but they didn't have the same idea. So that's, like I say, that seems to be rolling along, and I think it was Representative Cheatham responded and started by saying, regrettably, I think this is going to move through rather quickly, and already just from last week to through yesterday, it's going quick, so.
So that's why it went through quickly, because they attached the property tax relief to it?
I think so, yeah, or the other way around. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, because there were two other bills that proposed eliminating the March date. So I think this one just grabbed it up and,
Confused, because I didn't remember it being attached to the property tax before we.
right,
about it.
yeah.
I thought it was something different.
It was, two other bills, yeah.
All right, I'm lost.
So, Senate Bill 1144, this is a new educational savings account or voucher system. And with that, it dovetails with the Empowering Parents Grant, which was implemented during the COVID days. And in addition, though, it's another $12 million that could be spent by 2,000 students, each receiving a $6,000 grant to be used as basically they see fit in their education. So that one also has some big names on it, and that one may get a little more traction than the last one. I think the last one was so devastating for school districts. This one, they've eased it up a bit, but they're still coming at it. So we'll continue to watch that closely.
There are two more, that one and one other
House Bill 289, which is Representative Clow out of the Twin Falls area. So he's working it through the House. There is an accountability component to that one, whereas this other one through the Senate does not have that. So we'll see which side comes up the victor, so to speak, with school districts not, public districts not being that. Let's see, Bond and Levy Communications, House Bill 286. This was presented by Representative Andrus, and he calls it the Truth in Advertising Bill. And this could have an impact on districts because we would only be able to share or provide the fiscal impact and no other information. And so, as you know, having done some of these visits and
So you can't say what you're building or anything?
so, well, through the financial impact, I'm sure that would be it. So nothing beyond that. Yeah, and so that one is moving through state affairs. House Bill 268 is required board training. That died on the House floor. 272, opt-in sex education, also, well, it died in House Ed. And Senate Bill 1100, bathroom and locker rooms in K-12 schools, it passed the Senate and awaits a House hearing. And I think it passed 27-8, so it was a large majority of the Senate.
I know we don't talk about this very much, but does that go against the federal?
I do anticipate
So is
they,
that a possibility for a lawsuit?
yeah, that's what my understanding is, yeah.
That's what I thought.
And then closures on Election Day, this is House Bill 111, so our November and May dates. The proposal was to close schools on those days, but it's gone back to be amended. And it's my understanding that if the building is not occupied by as a polling place, then school could occur. And so we've been thinking, perhaps those might be virtual days or, as we've done this year, professional development in November. And so, and finally, House Bill 171, and this is in regard to Board of Trustees. You might recall that it was a 2-year seating, and then you have to declare party or no affiliation, and it's part of the November general election. And so I've heard this is back to be amended for 4 years, which is better, but the other 2 would still remain in place. And that might not come back, is what I'm hearing. So, yeah. Okay, and finally, the Jewel settlement resolution. I do not even recall, I was trying to think, the original date that this came, as you probably know, Jewel was, I believe, one of the first e-cigarettes. And their advertising was found to have been targeting young people under the age of 18. So our board opted to be on board with a class action suit that actually Amy White through Anderson, Jewell and Hull presented it to our board as an option. More so, I think we got on board, but a class action suit might result in pennies on the dollar by the time it's all shared out. And we do not have the final numbers as to what that would mean, as far as a monetary settlement to the district. But they are going to take 25% attorney fees, case costs, and so we'll see how that all works out. It'll be 5 payments, fall of 23, December of 23, December of 24, December of 25, and December 26th. So they'll be broken into installments. Again, I don't know what that amount will be, but out of that came some regulations very similar to tobacco and so forth as far as how they market and target certain audiences, declaring it really a national epidemic. And so it was good for us to be on board, and we'll see if there's any financial gain from that. But again, that's not really what we were looking for. It was more so the targeting of our children. And so there's a resolution here that the board will be asked to adopt that we,
Oh, no, I didn't mean
Oh, that we will return to this group. I don't know if it's Milestone or Anderson Julian, but one of the legal firms, or the representatives out of California.
I was just gonna ask you, I didn't get a chance to ask, the first, what is her name? And, anyway, the first one, Century, from Century, she said they were gonna do a vape awareness in their TAs. Is that all the high schools are they gonna all do that?
Sue?
Vape awareness?
Oh, or Tanya, yeah, either one. I'm gonna defer.
What is that? Because I just have been having I just have been having a conversation with my daughter. She's like, they're all vaping in the bathroom, and she's talking about vaping in the bathroom. And I said, do they know what that does to them?
Do you want one of you come up?
And she's like, oh, I'm sure they do. I'm like, I don't know if they all do. Anyway, I was just curious when she said that. That had just been on my mind that maybe we could like do a little, in every required class, a little thing on, do you know what it does?
Yes, and the health department actually received a grant to help get awareness out to teenagers. And I don't think there's an age group limit on it, but the 6 through 12. So those schools have reached out for that information, and some of them are distributing that through TA, some are in their health classes. So we let the autonomy of the schools try to figure out how they would disseminate that information. But
It's not like
in
a
that,
video or anything, it's just
no, it's
like just
information. It's basically awareness.
they just get like.
Yes, and if they did take this opportunity, they would get free vape detectors. And so they're going to try to start installing those into the bathrooms and see if that will help
Do they go
deter.
like?
I'm not positive exactly how they will run, but the fact that they're free, that they wanted to take this opportunity to see how that would work out in their buildings. And right now, we house one at New Horizons High School, and it's working out wonderfully. So bigger school, lots more bathrooms, so they're trying to iron that out. But if it deters students from doing that, because now there's a detector in there, it's worth it.
Well, I was just thinking that just when she was talking about that, I thought, usually, I remember back when I was in elementary, that do the whole thing about smoking, and then, you choose to do it, at least you're doing it knowingly.
We do have the DARE programs in the elementaries, yes.
And does that, and the DARE include the vaping and what it
Yes.
does?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yes,
I was just curious.
yes.
I still remember seeing
Yeah.
black lungs and all that.
Oh, right.
Yes, that still
I'm
happens.
like, oh, yeah.
So yes, a lot of the schools are taking this opportunity and doing that.
And so that's essentially what we could do with this money, is put it back into our Safe and Drug-Free Schools account. We could also look at more vape detectors for our buildings, and, yeah, because it really is a national epidemic, so. Yeah, so that's what we would do with any of the monies that we receive.
And you need a big loud foghorn on that thing when it goes off to wake 'em
So
up.
that money comes to the district, it doesn't go to the health department?
Right, it'll be for the district, because we were part of the litigation of that class action lawsuit.
Oh, that, I thought you meant that.
Oh, the other one, yeah, so, there will be vape detectors available as well for whatever participation that we have, in the district, yeah.
Thank you.
That's it.
That's it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, next on the agenda is public written comment pertinent to the agenda action items. There's no public written comment, so.
Mr. Facer, if I may, again, so the comment that we received earlier, I asked Mrs. Pettit to follow up with that individual, and so she,
The one that just spoke, or the one that.
at the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah.
The one that spoke at the
Email
beginning.
to, are you talking about?
We'll take care of it, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll now move on to action items. First on the item of business is to adopt the K-5 English Language Arts Materials. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the K-12 English Language Arts materials as presented.
It's K-5.
A second.
Did I say K-5?
No, you say K-12.
Oh, I meant K-5.
Okay, and there's a
Can I
second.
say it again? No, it's okay.
Okay. Is there a discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Guess not. That motion passed. Next on of business is to approve the Head Start 2023-2024 continuous grant application inclusive of selection criteria, self-assessment plan, and non-federal share waiver. Is there a motion?
I hereby move the board approve the submission of the Head Start 2023-2024 continuation grant application inclusive of selection criteria, self-assessment plan, and the non-federal share waiver request is presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope, that motion passed. Next on business is to approve the Head Start transportation waiver request. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the Head Start transportation waiver request as presented.
I'll
There's-
second the motion.
Okay, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passed. Next item of business is to hear first reading, policy 8705, student activity and participation fees and student fines. Is there a motion?
I hereby move the board here on first reading below listed policy is presented, policy 8705, student activity and participation fees, student fines.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Any, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Nope. So that motion passed. Next on item of business is to approve the early graduation request. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the early graduation request as presented.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
I'll second motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No. Any opposed? Nope. That motion passed. Next item of business to adopt the 2023-2024 New Horizon High School calendar. Is there a motion?
I hereby move the board adopt the 2023-2024 New Horizon High School calendar as presented.
Is there a second?
I second, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passed. Next item of business to approve the out-of-state overnight travel request. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the out-of-state overnight travel request as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion passed. Next item of business is to award the following bids: the carpet, the freezers, the roof.
Helmets?
The football helmets.
No, I jumped right over, didn't I?
I guess we could do that after.
Okay. Next on the item of business is to approve the use of district football helmets and pads for the summer football camp. Is there a motion?
I hereby move the board approve the use of district football helmets and pads for summer football camps as presented.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. So that motion passed. Next item of business is to award the following bids: the carpet, the freezers, the roofing, and the VCT tile. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board award the following bids as presented: carpet, freezers, roofing at Ellis Elementary, VCT tile.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. That motion passed. The next item of business is to adopt the emergency school closure resolution. Is there a motion?
I hereby move the board adopt the emergency school closure resolutions as if read into the minutes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Into the minutes, not if as. I'm literal.
Okay.
I didn't even hear what you said.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passed. Next item of business to hear second reading on adoption policy 7202, teacher supervision and evaluation of certificated and professional staff. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board hear on second reading for adoption the below listed policy as presented, policy 7202, teacher supervision and evaluation of certificated and professional staff.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Did you say aye? Oh, okay.
Okay. Any opposed? Nope, that motion passed. Next item of business is to hear second reading, oops. Next item of business is to adopt the JUUL, or Jules Settlement Resolution. Is there a motion?
I hereby move the board adopt the Jules Settlement Resolution as read into the minutes.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? I think we already had that, so all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
That motion passed. That concludes this meeting. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That concludes this meeting. We are adjourned. Well, we almost got her out of here.